guys, I am Callahan's mom. If you don't know, Callahan is 6 and she has had a feeding tube her entire life. Her first year of life, we were on the breast milk and the formula mix in the hospital. And then when she turned 1, I started questioning everything and started wondering why I couldn't give her purees in her feeding tube. And working with her speech therapist, who had other mothers that were kind of like me, she told me that I could do that. I started researching, doing lots of investigation, and talking to other moms, especially on Facebook groups that make their children's food. Come to find out, the formula that they give children from the dietitians recommend is all so bad for them. The first ingredient in most of them is high fructose corn syrup. It's green, it's orange, it starts to turn the kids' colors of their skin disgusting, and I started noticing that with Callahan as well. So she was vomiting regularly, couldn't tolerate a high dosage of food or high calories, and when you have cerebral palsy, your body burns 4 times the amount of calories than another kid's does. So Callahan requires, 1,500, 1,600 calories a day when that's, like, as much as I eat a day. It's a lot for given her body size. It took me about 6 months to kind of figure out what I was doing. A good mixture of calories, macros, all that stuff. For about the first 3 years, I measured, weighed, logged every single meal that I made her and made sure that it was an equal balance of proteins, carbs, and fats every single day. Now that we're 6 months into it, I kinda wing it. I make a big concoction and just hope that she's getting the best. And as she gets skinnier, I just add more food to her or give her more food throughout the day as I notice her growing, just like you would a regular kid. So it's a pretty cool process. We love doing it. She's the healthiest 6-year-old on the block. She never gets sick, never so much as having a cold or the flu or anything like that. And this might be TMI, but her poops are always regular and always solid, nothing like ours. But she's always healthy and we love it. So it's kind of funny. All the leading research is saying to not eat any processed food. I love being able to say that my daughter doesn't eat anything processed. So we try and do everything organic, not processed. There are some things that I couldn't find the organic versions this week. So I just bought regular hemp parts. So today we're going to walk through everything. So one of the things I do is I grind up all the seeds before putting them in the blender. It just makes it easier to go through the feeding tube. Sometimes we get clogged. Sometimes that's kind of not that fun, but this helps limit the amount of clogs, especially because we give her this food at school too. So I just try and make it easier for the nurses to do. We use the Blend Tech blenders. There's the Vitamix too, which is really good. However, Blendtec has a program for kids with medical needs. So they basically for kids that do blended food. So this is like a $400 or $500 blender we got for 50 bucks. And Callahan's dietitian just wrote a letter of medical necessity to Blendtec, and then they shipped it out to us. So it's a refurbed one. I've had it for 6 years and done almost 3,000 blends on it. So great. Okay, so these are just all the seeds ground up into a more powdered concoction. And I'll just kind of like break this up evenly. I'm going to make 3 kinds of food today. So that'll get us about 9 days worth of food. Softens them and then it like releases other nutrients in the nuts. And you should only soak them for 4 hours is the max. So I put them like 2 hours ago. So this also is a good time to use leftovers. We have some broccoli we didn't use over the weekend. And I think she's got a couple days left. Yeah, it says used by 7:28. I'm gonna use it for her food. I'll quickly steam it and then we'll use it and put it in the mixture as well. I do this with meat. I do it with like leftover spaghetti, anything that we've got that's about to go bad. So now I just start putting everything in the blender. So I've got some nuts here that we are going to use, some walnuts and pecans. I just use frozen vegetables and I just get it all Walmart delivery. So pretty cheap. I think you can also get everything at Aldi is even cheaper. Also, if you were on like SNAP or like food stamp benefits, you can use that for these things. Your child can also get that. There's really no excuse, in my opinion, to not give your kid high quality food. The government can help you pay for it. So uh, we got some raspberries, peas, and then I'm going to go ahead and throw in some of these hemp, chia, and flaxseed concoction in there. All right. I always use like an olive oil or an avocado oil, whatever I've got laying around, just a couple tablespoons. Again, for those extra calories, 1 tablespoon of olive oil has like 120 calories. Salt, because we need salt. There's a lot of summer colds going around too here in Greenville. So I always give about a tablespoon of honey, just get that bee pollen. And I always get it local from the farmer's market. Um, Also, my son goes to a school that has a really cool grocery store that I'll get stuff there for Callahan. Then, crazy, we give her about a quarter or a half a cup of sauerkraut in all her blends. So, fermented food is really good for your gut health and it really helps you poop more evenly. And most kids with cerebral palsy have a hard time pooping or on some sort of laxative. That's probably because they're on formula, but also because their muscles and not having control of their muscles like you and I would, they naturally kind of, it's harder for them to poop. And I use coconut water as our base most of the time, as long as I didn't forget to buy it. If not, I just use water out of the fridge. Extra hydration because it's hot, it's summertime and extra calories in it too. So, unlike me, I'm looking for all the extra calories I can get Callahan. So then I'll blend this up, try and make sure the water covers the food just so it's really consistent. And then we'll put in some mason jars. All right. So I'm making about 3 days worth of food. Callahan gets about a mason jar and a little bit more every day. So I use these mason jars. I probably should use the wide mouth ones, but whatever. This is what I got when I did my Walmart delivery. I goofed, but these are great. I will put these all in the freezer and then they will, I don't know how long they'll last in the freezer, but I try and make like 9 to 12 days worth of food at a time. But I think they can last like well over a month in the freezer. And so now I'm just going to dump some nuts in here. Again, trying to mixing it up evenly. And then the chicken that I cooked a little bit ago. I also use all the juices from the meat. I don't drain anything. It's all extra flavor. It's good fat. It's healthy. So all the extra goodness. The biggest thing though is variety. We all need variety in our diets. It's great for your gut health, which is good for everything, your whole body. So making sure your kid has enough variety. It doesn't have to be rocket science. Basically, are you getting fruits, vegetables, meats, and healthy fats? And then I just put it all in together. Try not to fill it all the way up to the top because it's still a little warm. And there's definitely going to be some leftover extra. So again, when I first started this journey, I would have been a little stressed out about all this, but I'll just put this in another mason jar and then we'll use it for one of the next blends that I make. This is like one whole day's worth of food. So this in it, because the blender can only fit so much. So I just like shake it all up and then basically for the day, she gets everything she needs. I let it come to like room temperature. It's still really warm, probably because of that chicken that I cooked a little bit ago. And then I put in the fridge and I let it cool. And then we put to the freezer. So you don't put in the freezer when it's hot. That'll cause a broken glass. And you don't want that. Trust me. We've had lots of accidents, lots of trial and error. And I've also found the plastic lids are better than the metal ones. Most canning people use the metal lids. The plastic just don't get as gross, in my opinion, and rusty and all of that. So I found these about 6 months ago and they've been great. So I've got some organic pineapple that I've been thawing out. Pineapple's really, really good for acid reflux, for like mucus, all that good stuff. Callahan's drooling. She's got some teeth coming in, so I thought we'd do some of that. Some spinach. There's mixed reviews on spinach, but whatever. It's got a lot of vitamins in it. So then I'll just go back and we'll add in all the same things as before. So make sure I get a good bit of sauerkraut on there for her. Some honey. And besides the honey, I get most of this at Walmart. Um, and the meat, but I do get some of the meat from Walmart. Like I said a little bit ago, you don't have to spend tons of money to do this. And in my opinion, it's like cheaper than eating out and it's cheaper than the Chick-fil-A I'm getting my son twice a week. So very simple if you have a plan. Look at how green that is. We were just talking. Callahan gets so many healthy vegetables and fruits. Like, it's awesome that we can give her this diet. All right, I'm just quickly rinse this off. Add some more nuts. And then I've got some ground beef that I cooked a little bit ago. I'll add. Now I just aim for like a pound of meat in each blend, maybe a little bit more, depending on how stuff's packaged, but roughly a pound is good. So we started this process when Callahan was 1. I think when you have a kid with disabilities, you automatically think that you have to get doctor's approval to do everything, to feed them a certain amount, to feed them what you want, to change their diaper, to do literally everything. But you are the parent and it is your decision. And so doing this has made me feel really empowered with decisions that we've made for my daughter, whether that's going to cool places to get different treatments, making her own food, telling the doctors we're not getting on certain medicines and kind of pushing back and doing a little bit more research on different things that medical providers have told us that we need to do. So take it into your own hands and it's your child and you know best. I will also say this, our dietitian, who we don't really see anymore, she was super supportive of us going to a blended diet. I've seen lots of posts about dietitians that aren't supportive of this, but again, it's your child. Make the choices you want for your child. Something I always told the dietitians that we've met with, you don't ask me what I'm feeding my 8-year-old who's normal. Why are you asking me what I'm feeding my kid with disabilities? So you don't have to send in your meals. You don't have to send in everything that you're doing. Feel empowered and think about how they would treat you if your kid didn't have disabilities. So, all right, I'm going to make the last of everything. This takes me about an hour every 9 to 10 days. I'll get my husband to help cook the meat and do all that. So, breaks it up a little bit, but it's really not that bad. And I cooked her up some salmon a little bit ago. So, just throw that in there. And people do comment on the salmon because when Callahan burps, it stinks. But it's just so healthy. So, whatever. And then some of this broccoli in there. All right. And then I just had some bananas laying around that I did not think people were going to eat. So I'm going to stick a couple in there as well. All right, we are almost done. All right, so we got some extra. Might not have all the protein in it that I had mixed in originally, but whatever. Again, a couple years ago, would have been worried about this, but now, whatever. There are days when I don't eat as much meat as I do vegetables or fruit or whatever, so kind of just think about it the same in my kids' eyes. Not every day has to be perfect. 80/20 rule. So there we go. So I'll let all this cool down and then I'll put it in the refrigerator here in probably like 30 minutes to an hour. And then put it in the freezer. So all done. This made us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9.5 days worth of stuff. So pretty good day's work, I might say. Thanks for joining.